There are three stakeholders, including all of us, who are invested in the change in the community. So first is this word called resilience, which both Arvind and Dilip very nicely actually translated. I did not know how to, so I went and Googled it and I found the Oxford Dictionary definition of resilience, which is capacity to withstand difficulties or recover quickly, or how to be tough, and ability to spring back, or how to be elastic. Right? Can we quickly
டிக்ஷனரியில் வந்து ரெசிலியன்ஸ்னா என்னென்னா கீழே மூந்துட்டாங்கன்னா எவ்வளோ சீக்கிரம் திருப்பி எழுந்து திருப்பி வருவாங்க, அது பேர் ரெசிலியன்ஸ். அது ஒரு ரிகவர் குவிக்லி ஃப்ரம் டிஃபிகல்ட்டி. ஸோ டிஃபிகல்ட்டி ஆச்சுன்னா எவ்வளோ சீக்கிரம் ரிகவரி ஆகும், எப்படி எவ்வளோ சீக்கிரம் திருப்பி நீங்கள் எழுந்து நிற்பாங்க, தட் இஸ் கால்ட் ரெசிலியன்ஸ். ஸோ ability of a substance to spring back into shape. So it's the same thing. ரெண்டாவது நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி டஃப்னஸ். எப்படி how tough you are is also resilience. So உங்களை எப்படி டஃப் பண்ணலாம். So that is what you need to work. That's what we want to do. OD.
And therefore I wanted to ask, what does this mean for each of you? What does it mean to be tough or elastic in the context of NGO work, in the context of civil society work that all of you do? Would love to have some answers from the group, because any word, like, it's important to put it into context, right? And this is our context, right? What I try to do is bucket them into a few varieties. Maybe there are more also. This is not comprehensive by any means, but maybe that one can think of financial resilience. Somebody spoke about fund flow stopping. We can think about organizational resilience in terms of structure, in terms of people, in terms of strategy. Programmatic resilience, like ma'am said, in terms of ensuring that we are able to do everything that we can to support the community. And lastly, why are we doing all of this? Potentially for community resilience, I would imagine, so that the community is able to thrive, they are able to. So we've kind of touched upon resilience. The next thing I wanted to talk about was, so please hold this discussion in your mind as it pertains to resilience. The next thing I want to talk about is the ecosystem, and sometimes we end up, we meaning everybody, not you, end up oversimplifying this by saying that there is an NGO. The NGO is doing programs in the community, and then there is a funder who is supporting this NGO with funding. And then we can do OD or capacity building or IB with the NGO, and we can do leadership, we can do build communication, strategy, fundraising, board, governance system, all of that, right? And so this is a way of looking at it. And before and this is important, no doubt, and it may be true in many cases. But we think that it's slightly more complicated than this, because there are three stakeholders, including all of us, who are invested in the change in the community. So it is important for us to think of it this way, that perhaps funders are invested in change in the community, but they are able to only support this through supporting organizations. And organizations are obviously invested in change from the community, and also may come from the community. A large number of organizations, including many in this room, have emerged from the community, are often led by the community. And the funder therefore supports the organization to support the community. And also there is a reverse responsibility, because the funder is a few steps removed from the community. Therefore, the onus and accountability is on the NGO also to help the funder to learn about the community, because how else will they learn, right? So therefore I want to put this image at least out there. It's not one linear line, but it's a interconnected, it's a web, and therefore all of the things that we talk about in OD, which obviously all of you have been doing for now a year, but which we saw in the last slide also, all those are important. But there is a nuance and a context that perhaps we need to add to it, which Dhwani also does so well, that how do we do that, but we think about leadership that is proximate, that is leadership from the community. How do we help develop that? Not only just leadership development, how do we ensure that there is representation of the community voice in decision making, in everything that we do, again, which all of you have, right? And if we talk about decision making, how does one arrive at a place of trust where decision making on funding, on other things, is made by the people who are closest to the work and to the problems? And how do we build transparency and accountability? Because as NGOs, it is on us to best represent the community to the external world. And lastly, how does one have a listening and a learning mindset, especially funders, but also everybody, right? So this was the second point, ecosystem. So two things we have discussed. We have discussed resilience and we have discussed ecosystem. And I just want to bring these two together because I feel like if we are able to do the things that Arvind also just spoke about, if we are able to look at this holistically and work on all parts of it, like if we are able to build organizational resilience, if we are able to do OD, build transparency, accountability, there is a higher chance of financial resilience, funder trust, building, transfer of decision making power, which should hopefully lead to strengthened programs that all of us do on the field, which, and the ultimate objective, like I was saying, is about community resilience. So this is our hypothesis. This is what we believe. And because we believe this, we have started something called the Rebuild India Fund. So quickly, kind of just talking about the key points of the Rebuild India Fund. One is that the Rebuild India Fund aims to support 100 grassroots NGOs every year. We aim to support these organizations for 5 years, which means 5-year commitment. The grant amount that is decided for this is 50 lakhs totally, which means 10 lakhs every year for 5 years, right? And the nature of this fund is that it is completely unrestricted. The kinds of organizations that are meant to kind of be in this fund are grassroots organizations with budgets annual budgets between 40 lakhs and 2.5 crores. We want to, and we heard lots in the morning also, we would like to support organizations that have leadership from the community, that promote leadership from the community, or are led by members who have come from the community and have started the organizations, as well as who work with some of the most vulnerable communities, which all of you do, and whose work is extremely rooted in the community. The selection process does not happen through a proposal. It happens through nomination by organizations such as Dhwani. So Dhwani and others nominate organizations that they know very well, and these organizations then go through a process wherein we have a 2-hour conversation with them to try and understand the leadership, their work, all of that. And then we present these organizations to a committee of NGO leaders only who lead small grassroots NGOs, and they make the final decision on who is selected and who is not. Once organizations are selected, then they are with us for 5 years, and we try and link them to many networks, many partners. We try and provide capacity building or link to people who can do capacity building. We try and connect them with funders, try and build exposure and visibility on social media, etc. And most importantly, I think we try and provide a space where all of these partners, and it's 100 NGOs every year, so in 5 years it's 500 leaders. We try and build a space where these leaders can create a community amongst themselves, so that regardless of whether Dasra is there in the future, at least all of you have each other, which is also something amazing that Dhwani is doing.